You guys are going to want to watch this episode if you are a leader, an entrepreneur, and you feel like, I'm getting a little bit stuck here and I don't know how to move forward and how to 10x my growth. This is going to be the episode for you because I spoke to Kareen Zahr Walsh and she is unbelievable. She's really fantastic. She is a leadership strategist. She's an author, a podcaster, investor. She's a seven-figure entrepreneur and she has worked in all of the health and wellness and e-commerce and technology and finance. So she really does know what it means to build a 10x business. And she wants to help you do that as well. And she has a lot of opportunity for you guys to grow in what you're doing and to help you with mindset shifts and the way to look at your business strategically. So if you are in that space, if you are a CEO, an entrepreneur, a leader, and you really want to know how to shift your business to 10x the growth, this is going to be the episode for you. So go ahead and watch it because you're going to freaking love it. Make sure you leave comments, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff so we can keep growing this amazing community. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. I'm so happy today. I have such a cool person hanging out with y'all today. I can't wait for y'all to meet her. She is amazing, and I want to make sure that you guys like, share, subscribe, all that. Make sure you comment below as well. You guys have been blowing up the channel and blowing up all these videos. I'm seeing thousands of people watching the videos, and you got over 100-something thousand things going. I mean, I am so happy that you're here and you guys have been really thinking about how to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. And today I have somebody who is so cool. Like as soon as I met her, I was like, what are you, my sister from another mister? What is
That's
happening
right.
over here? Her name is Kareen Zahr Walsh. She's a visionary and she has a business and leadership strategy. She's an author, a podcaster, an investor, a seven-figure entrepreneur. Now, with nearly 2 decades of experience across health and wellness, e-commerce, technology, and finance, I told y'all, right? I told y'all. All right. She has built a reputation for helping C-suite executives turn their vision into impactful action. Now, I know a lot of you guys who are listening are CEOs, you're entrepreneurs, you're solopreneurs. A lot of leaders listen to this, and I freaking love you guys. This is why I bring quality people onto this show. Now, she recently she launched Hey Kareen app, bringing her business expertise into the AR world, exploring or empowering, I should say, leaders to 10x their results. Okay, so this is your girl, y'all. All right, I want to make sure that you guys are listening because Kareen has been absolutely amazing at turning business vision to achieve their massive impact. And that's what we want to talk about. So, Kareen, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. How are you?
Neena, I'm so great. And I thank you so much for having me. Like, I'm just here to serve. So, however, we can just give your audience whatever they need, I'm here for it.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, I mean, they're so good. Like, I've been getting a lot of great feedback of like the quality of the people I've been bringing, right? Because I'm
Yeah,
very strategic. That's why we meet before we get
you're
on the
so
show.
smart. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. So, before we get started into all the great stuff you're doing, I do want to get to know you a little bit better. So, who are you? Kareen, who are you, girl? Who are you?
Oh, girl, there's so many facets to who we are, aren't there? Like, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the hardest questions I think people have a challenge to answer. And I'm finding that as I go up in time, I should say, like the more time I spend out in the world, I realize that I am someone who leads with love first.
I
Like
love that.
literally, my sweatshirt says "Love yourself" on it. It's something about realizing that that's my core value. I lead with it in everything I do. So I love to love on my clients and make sure that they are nurtured through their hustle, right? Like, and making sure that their hustle doesn't become a hassle, leveraging all the strategies and the methods and the knowledge that I have. I'm someone who leans into love in my relationships and my family, with my friends, making sure they feel connected, seen, heard, understood, right? And then in my playtime, in my spiritual practice, in my health, like I make sure that I'm bringing love to everything I do there too. And I know that might sound for some people listening like, wait, she's a hardcore business strategist. Like, what's all this love talk, right? But I found that if I did not connect with my innerness, like my inner being and all that I do, that I'm truly out of alignment, and my actions don't really matter. So that's one of the ways I like to describe who I am, is someone who stands in this world to make sure that the people I interact with find value from every interaction we have, but most of all leave feeling a love connection of some sort, whether it's to
Yeah.
themselves or with me, or a love connection to others because the work we've done together. That is what I feel my purpose is today.
Yeah, you know what, Kareen, that's beautiful too, because I think that one of the things that has left the building, right, for many years in leadership was that, leave your stuff at the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't bring that here type of mentality. And I
No.
think it worked for that time. It worked for that time. That's how it was. Although the stress was really high, people couldn't talk about it because that's not what you do. We've
Right.
changed. We've
We've
changed,
changed.
Kareen. We're not those
Yeah.
people. Yeah, we're
We've
not those people.
humanized a little
Yeah.
bit more, right? Like the days
Yeah.
of compartmentalizing who we truly are from how we show up in life and business and relationship and all the facets of it. It just has to be integrated to our inner selves,
Yeah.
just different now.
100%. Well, because you're the same person, right? You're the same person in that C-suite level as you are at home, as you
Mm-hmm.
are, hanging out with your friends, as you are, whatever, parenting.
Yeah.
And so I know that you've helped a lot of these C-suite executives turn their vision into reality, right? This is
Yeah.
we talked about a little bit when we met the first time as well. So, talking in the same line that we're talking about right now, what's the biggest that mindset shift that you've seen that leaders need to make in order to get out of their own way so
Yeah.
that they can lead that business into that 10x growth that you're helping them with? What's that biggest mindset shift that you've seen?
Well, so really, we all are masters of how, right? Like when you get into a C-suite level owner of a business, like the doing is something that we've mastered.
Mhm.
What I found the biggest flip of work that I do with my clients is, well, okay, so you're a master of doing, but the why, like getting clear on your vision, like why are you stepping forward in this way? Why do you want this end goal that you claim, and being super clear on the why. But then also, who do you have to become to stand in it? And
Right.
that's that EQ work, right? Like that's not about the mastery of how, it's about who do you have to become, right? It's that inner integration to say, okay, I'm going after this and I'm striving after this, but I also want to find a way to enjoy it. Okay, well, so to enjoy it, like who do you have to become? What do you have to delegate? What do you have to let go of? What leadership skills might you need to build? Like what if it's no longer a fit for you? Is this time to let it
Yep.
go? And we really get into the deep work around who you have to become, which I think is a differentiator of my practice, because I'll give you strategy for days, but if you don't know who you have to be to lead that strategy, then you're not going to get the results you're hoping for.
Right.
And
Right.
that has literally been the game changer with the clients that I work with, because sometimes there are also the people who are like, I know I want to be this way and just need strategy because they're new to business. Like that happens with the more novice entrepreneur who's doing it for the first time, who might be building a business off something they mastered doing, but they don't know
Right.
the business modeling, right? Again, though, there still needs to be a step up in leadership and a step up into who they have to become to lead in that vision.
Yeah, that's so true, right? And I think that's a big miss sometimes when somebody is given a big position, if they're novice, right? I mean, I think if you've
Yes.
done it for a while, you've been bumped in the head a couple times, you kind of get it, right? But when
Sometimes.
you sometimes that's true. I was gonna say that's why I paused. I said sometimes actually,
Sometimes.
sometimes because sometimes you're still going in with that mentality of you need to be the hammer, where's the nail, and
Yeah.
that's not always the best way to approach things, right? And then there's the people who are getting into leadership because they've mastered something. They've been at a company a long time. They're the best salesperson on the team. And so then they're given a team and now they don't know how to manage that,
They
right?
probably never wanted it in the first place and
Right.
didn't really articulate within themselves, because unfortunately when you're in other people's organizations, the promotion of sorts tends to be something that is for more money, not necessarily for where you're trying to guide your career. And I don't think
Yeah.
enough people pause on the impact they want to have in the world to design what their career life should look like
Mm,
or could look
mm,
like. So yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic. And in entrepreneurship, we're not really learned to how to manage
Right.
unless you actually tested it out in someone else's company
Right.
and mastered it there. So and leadership in general is not something that I think we cultivate enough of these days.
Oh god, that's so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. Now
Yeah.
you've worked in a lot of different industries. I mean,
Yeah.
you've worked in health and wellness and technology and finance, right? And all
Yep.
that. So talking about leadership, what do you think is like one of the biggest or the common challenges that you're seeing these leaders are facing regardless of the industry, right? Like
Yeah.
how can they overcome this challenge and like create the lasting impact? Because you're right, leaders are sometimes overlooked, right?
Yeah.
Kareen, and there's what I love is that you're going in there and you're trying to develop these leaders for these organizations. I don't know why, and maybe this will shift. I hope that they don't invest more in that. That the big C suites or the bigger companies, whatever, need to really be investing in coaches like yourself and leaders like yourself that are helping them develop these leaders,
Yeah.
right? So now you've gone through all these different industries. So tell
Yeah.
me, what do you think is the most common, and how do they overcome that?
So the most common challenge is like the trip up into a promotion without the guidance of what it means to
Yeah,
perform well in that role. I've seen it time and time again where it's like you're just given, like you said, given a team, inherit this, go figure it out. Like
yeah, yeah,
you were really solid in this area, so we're just going to assume that you're going to be solid, taking on more responsibility, and it
yeah.
becomes. I used to be called like I used to call it the curse of the competent, because like when my career coming up, right, I was in tech company, fintech company, back in my 20s, and I was such a bulldozer career climbing person. Like I knew that if I did not create success for me and climb the corporate ladder of sorts when I worked in other people's companies, I wouldn't feel successful, right? Like it was just
Mhm, mhm,
I had a very masculine push of achievement back then.
mhm,
And
mhm.
I went from a business analyst in 5 years. This happened in 5 years, which was like a career like no other back then. From a business analyst working on a subsidiary back then, they would call them subsidiaries. The company these days we call them startups. And then within 5 years, I became a senior director of mergers and acquisition operations. Like in 5 years, because my hustle
Wow.
was hard. Every 6 months, I had a promotion. It was a growth based company. I knew how to navigate. I learned the system. But the difference I had too was I was willing to make a decision. I
Right.
realized that leadership is really
Mm.
about the willingness to make a decision
Mhm.
and the resourcefulness to pivot when it's not
Mm.
going in the right direction. And not many people are taught that. Like the recovery
So
is
true.
just as important as the climb, right? Like when
Right.
you fall back down to the summit, sometimes you got to figure out your climb again. Oh, I got to go up a different route, right? That is what isn't being trained. And what a lot of environments I walked into is more the finger pointing and the blame
Mhm.
and the focus on the failures versus how do we do this better? How do
Mhm.
we step into it better? Who do we need to make this happen? Because there's also a lot of assumption based leadership where you think that you have the right skill set on your team. Or a lot of companies just go hire outside people versus asking their team, like, do you guys
Yeah.
have the skills? Right.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of things are
Yeah.
being done in a more passive, reactive way, and the
Yeah.
most successful environments that I've worked with or helped transition to are when they're proactive, transparent, and solution oriented. Right, like
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
the direction we want teams to go.
Yeah, and that is a challenge in itself, right? Like
Yeah,
showing this big CEO of a company or something, or COO, that they need to think that way. And also, I mean, I've worked in companies where they have had people with extreme amount of skill sets that they could utilize, and they keep them in this silo, in this place, and they don't move them.
yeah,
Like maybe they move them laterally, but they don't utilize their skills. I love that you said that,
yeah,
because that's true. But, people come with a lot to the table sometimes, and you are not looking at them anymore because now you've already put them in that one position, and it causes people to feel like
Yeah,
undesirable,
unseen,
moving,
unseen,
unseen. They just
unseen.
feel, yeah,
Yeah,
they,
there's no
yeah,
growth path for them.
yeah,
The
yeah,
apathy, why there's so much apathy and,
yeah,
the quiet exiting that's happening, that happened during or it was the big topic during pandemic years of just like people just riding the check that they were receiving and not giving
yeah,
much. But that was because the environment didn't cultivate for
right,
them to grow and offer more.
right,
Right. Like, and that's a representation of the business. I always say, your business is 100% a reflection, your growth of your business is 100% a reflection of how willing you are to grow as the leader of it. And
right.
if you're not consistently evolving, it's why my methodology is called Evolve. But it's like if you're not consistently evolving and thinking about what you are becoming and how you are going to step into the next level, so you can bring others with you and show them how to grow, the business gets stale. It
Yeah, it
just does.
does.
And then you wonder
Yeah,
why,
it
like, why
does.
am I not seeing the numbers?
Yeah.
Why are my top people leaving me?
Right.
Right?
And
Like, why,
you gotta
it's
check
like,
yourself. You do gotta check
yeah,
yourself, Kareen, because
yeah,
one of the things I also noticed, being in that space for a long time too, is this attitude of you should be grateful you work here type of attitude. And you have to remember, whoever's listening right now, guys, I know that sometimes these conversations could be tough because at the end of the day, all of the fingers point back to you as the leader.
yeah,
And the truth is that if your top people, like Kareen just said, are leaving you, you need to check yourself.
yeah,
Like,
right,
what is it that you are missing? Right. Sometimes it could be them, but
yeah,
lots of times it is you. And so and I had to learn that too, right? We all have to
of
learn that
course,
as leaders.
yeah,
I had a team of 20 under me. And when people were leaving, I'm like, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I not see here? Let me do a 360 real quick. What's going on? How do I get better? Right.
yeah,
Because I always wanted to get better. And, but sometimes you'll see leadership almost with this little bit of arrogance to them of, well, you should be grateful that you work. Well, I work, you pay me because I work here. And what's happening now is people are saying, you know what, actually I don't align with your
I don't
values,
have to work here.
I'm out. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a thing. It's a
It's
thing
a
now,
thing for
guys.
sure. And now
Yeah,
entrepreneurship is so on the rise because people would rather work for themselves.
yeah,
And then they get into their own conundrum
yeah, I was
because
just
now
gonna
they're
say.
like, well, I really didn't want the container of like being boxed in by this company. And so I'm going to run my own thing. And then, oh, if I run my own thing now, you've just created another job for yourself versus actually build a business, So like there's that
Yes,
dynamic too of like,
yes,
okay, let's like self-employment is a thing. And then I did that for many years just to get out of certain containers I didn't want to be a part of and
yeah,
focus on other areas of my life. But when I choose to like actually build a scalable business, it's a whole different leadership model of how
yeah,
you step into that too. And I
yeah,
think we just have to be more conscious on what is it that we're trying to build? Who do I have to become to lead it to fruition, right? Right. That end goal, that destination. And then
right.
and then also what I like to bring to the table, which I think a lot of companies don't do or owners of companies don't do, is like I like to think about your exit strategy and reverse engineer your strategies from
Mm,
there, right?
that's
Because
good.
when we focus on the exit at the start, it's a whole different construct potentially of what you're actually building, but it also gives you permission to see this business as an asset of yours and not
Hmm, hmm,
necessarily your baby. I can't
hmm.
stand when people say, "Well, my business is my baby." Oh my god, girl, like that it triggers me so hard because you will never detach. You will
Yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
detach
No, it's true.
from that business. And
Yeah.
because you're treating it like a baby and you know how dysfunctional families are, like why would you bring that dysfunction into your business,
So true. So true. I used to say that too about my first business. Oh, it's my baby. When I had to let it go, I felt like I was gonna be like I was gonna die. And
Yeah,
then
the
I
attachment
didn't
is
die. Yeah.
real.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
attachment is real. Then I didn't
yeah,
die. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm just
yeah.
on to I'm second, third
Yeah,
business. It's all
whatever
good.
it is, but
Yeah,
like that, but it's
exactly.
critical to
Yeah.
because that's also a leadership skill.
Yeah.
The ability
Yeah. Oh
to
yeah.
know when it's time to leave something and go
Yeah.
start something else, like that's the entrepreneurial spirit, but that's a way of leading. It's leading
Right.
yourself the healthiest way to also build the healthiest business.
I wanna dive into too what it is you do. So I wanna dive into
Yeah.
Evolve and also the fact that you have, the Hey Kareen app, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So essentially, you're like scaling, right? And you're scaling towards or through AI and things like that, and that's
Yeah.
where a lot of the businesses are going now anyway.
Yeah.
So how do you see this future of leadership, since we're talking so deeply about
Mhm.
leadership and business strategies and stuff like that, evolving into integrating these AI tools like you're doing. So
Yeah.
I wanna talk about that, and I also
Yeah.
wanna talk about the Evolve. So let's talk about
Yeah.
integrating like AI in your app and all of that.
Well, it was actually a result of going through my own evolved methodology because I eat my own food, right? Like I
Yeah.
cook and I eat my own food. Like, so so when you go through thinking about your exit in mind, right, which is the last E of evolve is an acronym, but that's the last E. And I think about, in exit, I always think about how do I exit from the role I'm in so I can continue to grow, right? Like if I
Yeah.
just wanted to build a coaching practice, that is my time devoted so many hours a week, and I don't have that many because I'm running other businesses too. Like I have a few under my portfolio now, where it's like, okay, that doesn't scale, and
Mhm.
I want to exit the feeling that it's my time is a hindrance on growing my coaching practice or supporting the people who want time with me or leverage the way I coach them. So what could I do about it?
Mhm.
And knowing that that was my why behind my own evolution in my business, luckily, I'm a weird techie person too, where I was like, oh, AI is amazing. Wait, I can clone myself. So I cloned myself in AI. So the Hey Kareen app is a centralized place that is all my content, resources, programs, access to my live coaching, my former podcast, my new show that I'll be launching next year will be on there. But then what I did is integrated a chat function that is literally like you're talking to me and being coached by me because I took all my material over the last 20 years, my coaching sessions, my books, my everything, and I fed it into the
That's
machine of
smart.
my
Smart.
own
Yep. Yep.
AI database and
Mhm.
then guided it on how I would coach people when they come in with their questions. And we have 5 key categories that we focus on in the app. So like literally I want to be walking alongside you and I want you to be able to carry me around in your pocket as your entrepreneurial guide.
Yep.
As
Yep.
your business leadership coach. You literally can go in there. Yesterday someone messaged me and was like, someone just asked me a question from one of the networks we're in, and I literally popped it into your AI and then I screenshot it and I sent it to her and be like, you need to download this app because she'll answer you in the moment. And it totally got them what they needed, which is how I'm scaling my knowledge base
Yeah.
basically and my coaching
Yep.
acumen, like because it does coach you through it. It's not
Mhm.
like just a Q&A situation. It asks you, was that helpful? What else can I help you with? How would it
Yeah.
feel to implement this? All the things that I would do if we were in a session, my AI does that for you too. And it's much
That's
more
what
approachable
yeah.
price point to work with her as I've, she's my clone. So to go work with her. And then when it comes to wanting me under the hood of your business with you, that's where I go spend my real life time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Because it's a very limited amount now with the client base that I have to take on new clients.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I do have openings that come up periodically, but it is now I'm no longer personally the stopgap measure of other people getting the support they need, and that felt so freeing. So
Yeah,
that's why I
yeah.
launched the app. I mean, it's been out now a few weeks. We we just launched it this year, and it's been amazing to get the feedback on how it's people helping people on the go. So
Yeah, that's so good. I'm
yeah.
building something similar. It's to help my coaching clients in between the weeks that we are not meeting or between the week that
Yes.
we're not meeting to answer
Yes.
their questions, to get them through the next module, like all that great stuff. So that's really
I'm
smart. And I
so
feel the
glad,
same
Neena.
way. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because there as a coach, like the things on repeat, and
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, but if I told one, I'd rather tell many.
Right.
Like, so more people have the impact, and then your client base keeps building, and
Yes.
then you get the well, hey, and I literally would get the hey, Karen. That's why it's called Hey Kareen. I get the Hey Kareen text message. Have you
Right.
ever blah blah blah? hey Kareen, how would I blah 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 blah. So I'm like, here's the Hey Kareen app. Like, go talk to her
So
first
good, right?
and
So
then
good.
escalate to me. But
Yeah.
then I have to tell my friends though, Nina, like, because I like you said, I said earlier, I lead with love, right? So my clients become soulmate clients. We become really
Yeah.
good friends. Except I'm like,
Yeah.
still please call the real me sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, that's
please
so
don't let her
true.
replace me. Like, I still
Yeah.
love you and I want to hear
Right.
from you.
Right. No, that's so good, and thank you for saying that because I have to do that too.
Yeah.
Because as I'm building it, I'm realizing as much as you feed it, it will sound like you. It'll act like you.
Yeah.
It'll
Does.
say things like you. All that great stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm
Mhm.
like, AI is a lot. I'm not a big tech person. I'm trying to become one. Like I'm trying to learn a lot of the language. I'm trying to do all
Amazing.
that.
You're doing great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to, right? Because you have to adapt. Otherwise, you will die. Your business will die
Well,
if you don't adapt.
your ability to attract current business, like current needs, dies.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it's
Yeah.
not really about you. You can, so many
Yeah, I
people
don't
can
mean
live
you, I mean
without
your
it.
business, yeah.
Yeah, but it does hinder the growth
Yeah,
of your business. And I also feel
yeah,
like it's a fun challenge to enhance how we coach,
yeah,
because now when we're in the room and we are in person and where it's like, go refer to that, whether it's the course or whether it's the AI or what, like, go there for the baseline,
yep,
come to me for the deeper stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
I want to do the hard stuff with you,
yeah,
it like
exactly.
helps us
Yeah,
elevate like how
so
we
true,
serve, which is really great.
so true. You're absolutely 100% right, and that's the way I want to serve my clients too, because
Yeah.
and also it helps you, like you said, "Oh my god, it was so freeing," because you're not repeating, and then repeating, and then repeating, and then
Yeah.
repeating, and it's like, "Oh god, I got a
And
new
it
batch of
evolves with me.
clients." Yeah,
That's the other piece, like every single new program I create or new talk that I have, or I can feed it into the system so everyone benefits from.
right,
It like reduces this layering of elitism of like, oh, I have to be at X amount earnings, blah, 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 to work with her. It's like, no, actually, you have all access for like $27 a month. That's like nothing, right? Like,
right,
and
right,
and if you invest in that, you'll get further in your business with leveraging her. So then to be in the room with me when you're ready to invest in that, we're doing the deep stuff. We're taking it
right,
to that next level. And it was so freeing to get the test version of it. I was like, oh my, now I can grow past where I am because I
yeah.
know they're taken care of.
I love
I
that.
have a
I love
place
that.
to guide people. Which is hard, I think, for us coaches and advisors and people
Oh, yeah.
who are in this role of transformation with others. Like, you can kind of sometimes feel a little stuck,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure, and
on
alone.
repeat, and it's
Yeah.
not who we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could feel stuck, you could feel very much alone. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the things people don't talk about too when they're, like,
Mhm.
becoming coaches is how lonely you feel in the journey. You really do feel lonely. You don't,
Mm.
necessarily know the next step, or you feel a little bit, like, befuddled, like, "Where do I wait, hold on, where do I go from here?" Like,
Yeah.
you have a good advantage too because you were in tech, you were in all that stuff, so you kinda knew there's systems that need to be laid out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But most people don't if they don't come from that world or that angle, think that they're just gonna go get certified or whatever, and then they'll come. No, you need a whole system, like
Yeah.
a whole build out.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your ideal client,
Sure.
how do they come to you, like all that kind of stuff? Because I know that a lot of leaders listen to the show. I just know they do.
Yeah.
So I want you to speak to that. So tell us about that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I like to work with entrepreneurs. Right now, I'm doing a lot of entrepreneurial programs that help them scale their business. So the ideal client is someone who has proven sales, like they know they're sitting on something. They know that they have proven the model a little bit in the market, but they might be sitting in that uncertainty of like, well, how do I make this a sustainable business that can scale over time?
Yeah.
Because that's where the mindset shift has to happen, and that's where new strategies have to come into play. And that's like my most fun. Like, I've helped so many different entrepreneurs in different industries, whether it's the health and wellness or into cybersecurity companies. I have folks that are in just brand building, et cetera. Like, they're just different business industries, but the challenges are the same, which is, how do I scale my business And then also, how do I build attraction, and are my offers correct? Like, we just really get under the hood of everything to make sure that what you are building and launching is something you can
That's
sustain over
awesome.
time.
Yeah.
And with the goal in mind of like really being financially successful doing it. Like, I have this magnetic money mindset program that has shifted so many leaders, because you don't realize that you can box yourself in the way you speak and feel about money in
Yeah.
your mind
Yeah.
can box your whole business. And it's one of the first things I do with my clients to make sure we understand, like, how do we create the magnetic money mindset? Because if we're going to scale, we have to be very comfortable with sometimes there's debt, sometimes there's lower revenue, and then sometimes there's windfall money that comes into play, and is what are we going to do with it, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that is the arena I love to play in the most. That's what my when I spend my personal time in businesses, what I focus on. And I do that through retreats, and I'll take on a few one-on-one clients. I have 2-day immersives. I sometimes do 1-day in-person sessions just to like get people restarted and on a path
Oh,
in
great.
90-day increments. So there's all different ways I work together, but the ideal client is someone who knows they have something, they want to take it to the next level, but they're not necessarily sure what to do about it.
What to do about it. Yeah, and that's real. That's
Yeah,
a real thing, right?
it
Like
is. Yeah.
I've had to pay thousands of dollars for coaches to help me
Yep.
kind of like, wait, I'm stuck here. What do I
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
So I love that you're doing that with them. And I know that, like I said, since so many of them are listening, you
Yeah.
guys are listening, or you better be listening because y'all know I know if you're not listening. But I love that, Kareen. So and I love that now you've implemented that Hey Kareen app. So that's
Yeah.
amazing, right? Because now that's giving them another source of place to go that they can, connect, get their mind going, get moving forward
Well, I
instead
would
of.
say though too, Nina,
Mhm.
the best way to get started if you really want to start on that path of who do I have to become is to go take my CEO conundrum quiz, which is heykareen.com/CEO, because that will help you identify the role that you're innately meant to play in your
I
business.
love
And
that.
then you'll get the guidance on like who you need, who should backfill you in certain way, how to set up the next person to hire to replace all that stuff you're doing that you probably shouldn't be doing that makes you miserable. That, if you just do that, first, right? Like, you will have so much value from identifying your role in your business, so that then leverage the Hey Kareen app and like go ask your questions on how do you transform into that next level for yourself. Like, it
That's
is the best way
awesome.
to get started, but also see what it's like to interact with me.
And it's heykareen.com/CEO.
CEO. Yeah, it's called
That's
the CEO
fantastic.
conundrum. Yeah.
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 There is a conundrum, girl. You
Mhm.
know there is.
There
So,
is.
all right. So, if somebody wants to like work with you and stuff, I know that
Yeah.
you already gave us the Hey Kareem, but is there is that where they go to connect with you? How do they follow you on socials? Like give us
Yeah,
all that.
so best way is to follow me on the socials. So Kareen Z Walsh is my Instagram handle, or on LinkedIn, it's Kareen Zahr Walsh, I believe. Where you can DM me directly. You can even email ask@heykareen.com if you want to really just set up some time to figure out how I can best serve you. I would say finding ways to connect with me, or like when my containers open and close, right? Because I've been doing a lot more. I just actually have been designing my retreats for next year. I'm going to be doing
Nice.
entrepreneurial retreats, and so that's my Evolve and Scale program. So that's going to kick off in January. But truly, like, follow me on the socials and you'll see all the information. If there's something critical going on with you and you really want support in your business, just DM me, like message me directly, because I
Love
manage
that.
all my social, so I will respond and make sure that you feel supported.
I really love that. I love everything you're doing. Honestly, I love
Thanks.
everything you're doing. I love how you show up. I love your energy. I just want people to like make sure they connect with you because I think you're fantastic. And
Thanks.
I really thank you for spending this time here with us and like dropping so much knowledge and wisdom. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to be here, Nina. And anything you need, if there's a challenge you're facing, I got your back, and I'll be straight talk with you too. So please
Good.
reach out if I can help you. But thank you so much for having me on the show.
I love it. I love it. Guys, I told you, right? I told you from the get that you were gonna love this woman. I just love her. I love her energy. I love what she's about. I mean, she just shows up. She's a straight shooter. I love that. And I want you guys to make sure that you take advantage of that, right? Go to that CEO conundrum. Like, go to I will make sure to link all of her information below and have all the links there for you so that you can connect, because I think it's important. A lot of us are really just thrown into stuff. And when you are thrown in, it starts to make you feel like you're an imposter, like you don't know what you're doing. And then it starts to make you feel like you have no value in this. And that all is a lie. All you need is the right tools, the right systems, the right way to think. And I want you guys to shift that thinking. Don't put yourself in a category of, do I even know what I'm doing? Maybe you don't. And that's why somebody has to come in and kind of just show you how to restructure that, right? So go ahead and make sure that you get onto that website. Make sure that you take that CEO thing, because I'm telling you guys, I mean, we are going to, you'll probably be a little bit shocked of like, oh, I just need to do this. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. All right. So, we are always here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. You know the deal. Love you guys. Until next time.